Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the fourth chapter. This is the fifth part of the fourth chapter. The chapter name is Contemporary India, Challenges to Peace, Stability and National Integration. We have completed four parts of this lesson. So what we have seen till yet, we have learned about the nation, nationalism, state, definition of them. Then again we have learned about ethnicity, race, religion, language. Then we had learned about the role of state. In that what we have seen, peace and order, economic development, nation building, governance and welfare. After that, we have learned about how we can maintain national integration and what all things we can do to maintain national integration. Even we have talked about territorial nationalism, territorial nationality as well as central nationality, the subordinate identity. This part we have learned. Then I taught you about melting pot and salad bowl. After that, the values. Which values are necessary or associated with national integration? That are common citizenship, unity in diversity, feeling of loyalty to the nation, a sense of fraternity among all diverse communities, secularism, social, economic and political justice and equality. These things we have learned or I have taught. After that, we learned about what is the role of the state in the context of national integration. Even we have learned 4 points, that is promote unity among culturally and socially diverse groups. Second was establish national authority over subordinate politics, unity or regions. Third was establish a dialogue between the state authority and the people to understand their aspiration and life condition. And last part was evolve certain values and goals that would help maintain social order. Fine. So these things we have learned. We have homogeneity, homogeneous society we have in our country. As well as we have learned we are sharing same values, common values with each other. It is a form of ethnic, racial, linguistic and religious tolerance that we have learned. Now we are going to start with India. What had happened after the after 1947 or when we have got independence on 15th August 1947, and what had happened, what all things simultaneously happened in all over the world. That things we are going to learn, and how the issues and all the contemporary events and incidents relates to our India. That thing we are going to learn. So see, after the independence, as I told you that on 15th August 1947 India had been got a independence, and after that there were lots of issues, there were lots of problems even. See, suddenly the government of British, they hand over everything to Indian government. That time also there was a confusion. I don't know whether you have heard about Purna Swaraj. You must have heard about Purna Swaraj. Purna Swaraj means demand of the full independence. See, what the Britishers they had decided before independence, means before 1947, they were ready to give us independence. They were ready to give us the status of independent nation, but how? Partially independence. Partially independence means what? The government system were partially hand over to the India. मीन्स जो गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम है उसमें इंडिया के पास थोड़ा गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम रहेगा और बाकी जो गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम है वो पूरा ब्रिटिशर्स के पास रहेगा. You had heard about the East India Company. So the East India Company will run the administration system of India. So it was a partially we can say independence they wanted to give us. But India fought a lot. The freedom fighters, they were not agree with the Britishers. They were not agree to take the partial independence. We want, or the freedom fighters, they were fight for the full independence. Means whole independence to the nation of India. And that is why we have got independence late. Otherwise it would means we would get independence earlier if we accept the partial independence. Means the Britishers as well as Indians both will run the both will run the administration system. Okay, after that we have got independence. We know all the freedom struggles, even freedom fighters, how what they did, what all efforts we had taken for the independence, everything we know. Fine. So finally the Britishers, they were ready to give us independence, and on 15th August we have got independence. And on that same date, means at the night of 14th August at the 12 o'clock, we have got independence, and they have handed over, the Britishers, they had handed over all the government system, all the things to India. So now the next question was how to handle all the government system. Means before that, the people, means the leaders, those who were participated in freedom struggle, yeah, they were in touch with the administration system. They were knowing the system, but not, means they were not sure कि what kind of administration system we have to adopt, what kind of administration system we have to run. That was the problem. थोड़ा हिंदी में देखेंगे. प्रॉब्लम का क्या था, हमें इंडिपेंडेंस मिला, पूरा हैंड ओवर करके गए ब्रिटिशर्स, लेकिन हमारे सामने प्रश्न ये था कि अब ये सब हम कैसे हैंडल करेंगे, कैसे देखभाल करेंगे, क्योंकि हमारे जो लोग थे उनको गवर्नमेंट के बारे में ज़्यादा कुछ पता नहीं था, और एक देश कैसे चलाना चाहिए उसका नॉलेज भी हमारे लीडर्स के पास नहीं था. तो सारा जो कुछ था वो सब नया था हम लोगों के लिए. लेट्स टेक वन एग्जाम्पल. इफ़ आई वुड select one person as a monitor of my class, or head girl or head boy of the school. So that time in the initial stage, initial means in an earlier stage, once I have handed over that responsibility to someone, that time we are little bit confused that how to do, what things we have to implement, then how are things will going on. So we are in that confusion that. But afterward, means once you are planning yourself, once you have that knowledge, means after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we are, means automatically we are habitual with this thing, as well as we get an idea that what to do with this post. Fine, suppose you are selected as a head girl, then in school you must have heard about till 10th standard head girl and head boys are there. So what are their responsibilities? They have to take care of all classes, they have to take care of the cleanliness of school, then they have to take care of the they have to communicate with students as well as with the teachers and principals. So simultaneously they have to do lots of work, they have to make balance in between all the work. So same situation was there in our country, that at a time there were multi-purpose or multi things were there which the Indian government they have to handle. So that was the thing. You can see here, very first is uh, few problems were there before independence. After independence, the problems had not changed. What was the problems? Very first is underdevelopment. Second, poverty. Third, illiteracy, social inequality. These were the problems. Now also, means in the 21st century also, we are facing this problem, means unemployment, then illiteracy, social inequality, poverty. In India, you can see the ratio of poverty is more than other countries. Fine. So these problems were there in front of the leaders. So they have to make balance in all the things. They had to run the administration system and all the things. Fine. So these were the problems after independence. And our uh, you all know about that Baba Saheb Ambedkar was the first person who was the head or the president of this drafting committee, Constituent Assembly. And Baba Saheb Ambedkar, because of his efforts, we can draw or we could complete our constitution. And now we have the constitution with us. You must have heard about the history of the constitution, who have made the constitution, how many leaders were there. Rajendra Prasad was the president, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, Ambedkar, and other few members. They were the members of this constituent assembly. And afterward we have got constitution, and on 1950 we have adopted the constitution. Fine. So these were the problems. Now we'll see this is the unemployment. Now one by one we'll see what does it mean by unemployment and other things. Unemployment means not normally or adequately developed, underdeveloped muscles, underdeveloped having a relatively low economic level of industrial production and standard of living, as from lack of capital. India is known as underdeveloped nations. Fine. Here you can see unemployment. With the help of these pictures, you will get not working. See, unemployment in India. People, they want job. See the unemployment. There are people who want job. See, we in our India, we have educated population, we have literate population, but in that ratio we could not produce that much jobs. Even Indian government, they could not produce that much jobs, and because of that it converts into the unemployment. Okay, so this is all about unemployment, and that is why we are known as underdeveloped nation or underdeveloped country. Next is poverty. As India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, poverty is on the decline in the country, with close to 45 Indians escaping extreme poverty every minute as per the World Poverty Clock. See, this is the research tells us that what is the poverty level or the ratio of poverty level as per the World Poverty Clock. So this was also the problem after the independence. Now also we are facing the same problem. Next was illiteracy. You know about that. Illiteracy means the Indian government, they could not provide education to each and every person. Yeah, nowadays we have all the facilities. We have the fundamental right that till the age of 14 everyone will get the free education, free and compulsory education. But at the time of independence, it was a big question in front of us, in front of the Indian leaders. See what I have been mentioned here. India is the home of the largest population of 287 million illiterate adults in the world. India's illiterate rate has increased 6 times since independence. Though the literacy rate has increased from 12% in 2001 to 74% in 2011, yet India has the world's largest population of illiterate adults. Now, why illiterate adults? Why illiteracy rate is there? Because of poverty, we can say, because of poverty level, because of poorness. The people, they are not preferring for their child, for their ward to take education, means they are not allowing their ward to take education. That is the biggest issue in our country, because if they could not meet their all needs, daily needs, we can say, the basic needs, then who will think about the education, who will think about the literacy? And that is why in our country we have the problem of illiteracy. Okay, fine. uh, literate adult means what? A person whose age is not suitable for the schools, means the person who cannot take education in formal school. See, there is an age limit also, means for example, for first standard you have to complete your 6 years age, 6 or 7 years age, then only you will get admission in pre-primary school. Okay, next is when the in generally a 10th standard student, just a minute, for example, a 10th standard student who have passed out, his age should be within 16, 17, 18. Fine. After that, automatically, means once the age grows, the people, they do not want to take, actually age bar, Indian government has also started to provide adult education to increase the ratio of literacy level. So next is social inequality. You can see here, social inequality means what? See, here the inequality between male and female, we can say the inequality between the girl and boy, that is known as social inequality. Okay, now gender inequality means the male and female distinguish. So here it is a major problem. Nowadays also we are facing the same problem in India. Social inequalities are outcomes of inequalities in income, education, gender, caste and class. Social inequality is the distribution of resources in the society based on power, religion, kinship, prestige, race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation and class. And we have to try to overcome the social inequality, and that is why Indian government, they have provided a fundamental right, that equality, gender equality. So male and female, they will get the same or we can say equal treatment by the constitution, equal treatment by the government of India, and that is the main change, we can say, through the constitution we have come through, or we have drawn this social equality, conclusion of the social equality. Next is why we need to adopt, or why the India had adopt democracy. So see what we have learned till yet. We have learned about the social inequality, then poverty, this underdevelopment, unemployment. So how we can overcome all these problems? If we adopt democracy, means at the time of independence, the leaders, those who were, or members, those who were the participated, or those who were the members of Constituent Assembly, they have they had thought about democracy, and then only the India, they have adopted the democratic constitution. Fine. Democracy means of the people, by the people, for the people. The whole administration system will run by the people only. So here we have given importance to common citizen of India, and that is why Indian government had adopted, or had been adopted, the democratic system. So what does it mean by democratic system? That we have seen: by the people, for the people, and of the people. See, what is Indian constitution, or what is there in Indian administration system? India is a federal parliamentary system. A federal parliamentary means we have state government and we have central government. In the last lecture we have learnt about it. Then secular democratic public. Secular means all religions will get a common treatment, same treatment. So here we are not distinguishing any religion. So that is secular democratic republic, in which the President of India is the head of the state, and the Prime Minister of India is the head of government. There are 543 members in the Lok Sabha who are elected from the Indian people, or who are directly elected from the Indian common citizens. Fine. So here, after adopting democracy, at least we could overcome few issues and problems of India. Fine. And that is why the democratic system, democratic government system is played a vital role in India, or we can say played a vital role to overcome all these problems, to solve the problems. Okay. Now we'll see the next point, that is what we have achieved after adopting democracy. Now what we have achieved, that we'll see. Democracy was considered essential for promoting national integration and bringing about social change. Yes, definitely we have changed the society. We can see the social change also. It was believed that economic development and democratic political order with social change would help in reducing poverty, removing caste and gender inequality. So we have brought all these changes. Now there are two aspects. One is structural aspect, and second is psychological aspect, or psychological and structural dimension. For what? The newly independent state of India had to take a deliberate steps to integrate the nation. See, what we have seen, we need to maintain the national integration, and for that national integration, the Indian government, they had to take a deliberate steps. Deliberate means important, which is very essential. That steps had to take by the Indian government, and yes, Indian government had taken few steps, and that steps we are going to learn in the structural dimension. Steps means, for example, let's take one example, that if I want to build a house, fine. So for building that house, for constructing that house, what all things are necessary? Very first is, we need to construct physically that house or bungalow, or whatever you are constructing. Fine. That time structure should be there, whether it is one floor building, whether it is bungalow, whether it is skyscraper building, means whatever, the structure should be there, the architecture plan should be there. Means what? We need a structure. Here also, to run a government, we need a structure. And that structure, who have decided that structure, who have given that structure? Obviously the Constituent Assembly, they constructed a structure, and that structure is known as the Constitution. Or through the constitutional process, we are running our government smoothly, and that structure is known as the structural dimension of our country, or the newly independent country. Fine. Now, psychological dimension means what? See, after the construction, after the completion of that bungalow, how do we feel? We are feeling very happy, we feel satisfied, as well as a family members, they are very happy. Means psychology, mental situation has been mentioned here. After constructing a bungalow, we are very happy, we are we like to reside, we like to stay in that bungalow. Same here in India, we wanted to construct a structure, and after that structure, means constitution, a constitutional process, the Indian citizens, they started integrating, they started maintaining the unity, national integration, and that was the mental satisfaction to the Indian citizen. And that things we are going to learn in the psychological dimension. Psychological dimension means the mental situation, the social mental condition. Fine. How we are feeling, the social changes, then political changes, the mental satisfaction, all that things we are going to learn in the psychological dimension. Means in the structural dimension, what we are going to see? The structure of government. Fine. The Indian Constitution has given us a structure, that is a federal system, democratic system. Then we have local government also, local bodies also. So structure has been given by the Constitution, and after that, after going through the structure, what all things comes in the mind of Indian citizens, whether we could achieve the national integration, the national unity or not, that things comes under in a psychological structure. And after that, we'll learn about the challenges. What were the challenges? Means, yes, after independence we had one structure, we had followed that structure, then we have got the mental stability, we had got the national integration, national unity, and next is the what all the challenges. Means while implementing structural dimensional, while implementing the psychological dimension, what all challenges the Indian people, Indian leaders, even the representative of India, they have faced. That things we are going to learn in the next lecture. So till that, what you are going to do, students? You have to read page number 37, 38. Structural dimensions that I am going to explain in brief. In the next lecture, we are going to learn only about structural and psychological dimensions. Fine. There we'll learn about the structure. So read the page number 37, 38, 39, and challenges also on 40. So read it. If you have any query, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, you can comment me in the comment box. Okay, fine. Have a good day. Have a nice day. Thanks a lot.